Good evening, Algebra 1 students. We're going to learn how to write equations of lines when given 2 points that are on the line. Okay, so I've given you the information tonight in a flow map. So given 2 points, write an equation. So we're always going to start with the first step, which is to find the slope of the line using the 2 points that were given to you. And you know how to do that. You use your slope formula for that. After you do that, you have 2 different paths you can follow. One takes you to the point-slope form. So you're going to write the equation in point-slope form, plugging in the slope you found and one of the 2 points that you were given, and then you're going to solve for y, which gives you slope-intercept form. Or you're going to take slope-intercept form, plug in the slope that you found and one of the ordered pairs for the x and the y, and you're going to solve for b. This can sometimes throw some kids off, so give it a try. I'm going to ask you to give it a try on the next slide. But after you've done that part, then you rewrite the equation by plugging in the slope and the value that you found for b, which actually is the y-intercept, remember. Once you do that, your equation is then again in slope-intercept form. So it really depends on which method you prefer. We're going to do one the point-slope way, and we're going to do one the slope-intercept form way. Okay, so here are our examples. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that represents the line that passes through the 2 points given. So the first one is 2, 1, and 5, -8. Pause your video, please, and find the slope of the line that contains those 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the math as well. Get my color that I want to use for this video. Alrighty, so we are going to find the slope between these 2 points. Okay, so 1 minus -8, y minus y, over 2 minus 5. 1 minus -8 is 9, 2 minus 5 is -3. This line has a slope of -3. So now we're going to use point-slope form, and remember what we talked about, we're always going to write it when we use it, so y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Okay, so that's y minus, let's use the positive point, the one that's 2, 1, so y minus 1 is the y value there, equals -3 times the quantity x minus 2. Now we need to solve that for y to be finished with this problem, and most of the time you're going to be giving an equation in slope-intercept form. One reason for that is the ease of the use of the graphing calculator. So -3 times x, -3x, -3 times 2, +6. Adding 1 to each side here, and we have y equals -3x plus 7. All right, next question, we're going to do it a different way. We're still going to start with the same thing, which is finding the slope. So again, y minus y over x minus x. So -2 minus -3 is really -2 plus 3, which comes out to be 1, and 3 minus 1 is 2. So we're going to have a fraction in this one, but that's no big deal. We can handle that. So we're going to use slope-intercept form this time. So it's going to look a little bit different. So we're going to start by writing down y equals mx plus b. We're going to plug in the slope, which is 1/2, and then we're going to plug in one of the 2 ordered pairs, x and y. So I'm going to plug in the first ordered pair, so 3 for x and -2 for y. So we're going to have to deal with a fraction, which, unpleasant as it may be, that's real life. Can't avoid them. So let's simplify. So we have -2 equals 3/2 plus b. We're going to subtract that 3/2 from both sides. Remember that 2 is the same thing as 4/2. So -4/2. And so remember that a negative minus a number is a negative plus a negative. So that's going to be -7/2. Okay? So now we have the slope and we have the y-intercept. We have the m and we have the b. So you finish by rewriting it. Keep y, y. Put in your slope. Keep x, x. Put in your y-intercept. Remember that when you're finding the slope-intercept form of the equation, you're finding the equation that shows you the relationship of x to y. So make sure you follow all the way through to the end of the process for these. It's a good idea to practice quite a few of these. Find some in the textbook. I gave you the section numbers at the beginning. I think it's the first one. I think it's Chapter 5, Section 3, to be specific. 5-3. Okay, onward. Writing an equation in standard form. This is kind of the opposite of solving for a variable. If you are specifically asked to write an equation in standard form, you're going to follow these directions. You're going to start by getting x and y on the same side of the equation. So you're going to get x and y on the same side of the equation, writing the x term first. You're going to multiply by the least common denominator to get rid of fractions if it's necessary. If the coefficient of x is negative, you're going to multiply the equation by -1. You want that coefficient of x to be positive, and at that point you have, ta-da, standard form. You will specifically be asked to put the equation in standard form. And it's looking, again, remember standard form, remember what it is. It's integer times x plus an integer times y is equal to another integer. Sort of just a nice looking equation, and it's often the one you would write when you do a consumer application, which we're going to do one in a couple minutes here. So let's try a couple out. 3 to be exact. We're going to write each of these in standard form using integers. So let's start by doing some simplifying here. So on this first one, I'm going to go through and I am going to distribute that -2. Ooh, no, that's not a good color. Oh yeah, the blue's much better. Okay, so -2 times x and -2 times -3. So we have y minus 4 on the left-hand side. We have -2x. -2 times -3 is positive 6. So we're going to get the variables on the same side. So we're going to add the 2x to each side. So we're adding 2x. Write it off to the side if you're worried you're going to accidentally try to combine unlike terms. 2x plus y. And at the same time here, I'm going to go ahead and add 4 to each side. I'm getting the hang of solving equations, so there really shouldn't be any issue with this. So the -2x plus 2x cancels. The -4 plus 4 cancels. 2x plus y is 2x plus y. And 6 plus 4 is 10. And, you know, if you're starting to get to the point where you recognize that if you have a -4 on the left, it's going to be a +4 on the right, and you have a -2 on the left, it's going to be a +2 on the right, or vice versa there. -2 on the right is going to be +2 on the left. You know, you're starting to recognize these things. Those are the patterns that we should see. Those are the things we should recognize. All right, let's do this one. So we've got y equals -3/4 x minus 1. We're going to get the x and y on the same side by adding our 3/4 x to both sides. We're going to have 3/4 x plus y is equal to -1. We're going to take this entire equation, and take the entire equation, multiply the least common denominator there, which in this case is 4. So 4 times 3/4 x, 4 times 3/4 x, 4 times y, and 4 times -1. So this is 3x, and then we have plus 4y equals -4. Nicely done. Everything is integers. X term has a positive coefficient. Last one. Alright, so we're going to distribute the 2/3. Unfortunately, it's not going to turn out quite as happily as we'd like. 2/3 x, that's fine. 2/3 times 4 is 8/3. Oh, hold on. I forgot something. The app is being a jerk and is not letting me erase. It won't let me erase without erasing pretty much all the writing on the slide, so we're just going to see that plus sign right there. So it's 2/3 x plus 8/3. Okay, so let's get the x and y on the same side. So we're going to subtract 2/3 x from each side, and we're going to subtract 2 from each side as well. 2, remember, we're going to write in thirds because that's the easier way to deal with the fraction. So 8/3 minus, how many thirds for 2? 2 is 6/3. So 8/3 minus 2/3 there. So that's going to be 2/3. Okay, 2/3 x minus 2/3 cancels. Plus 2 minus 2 cancels. And then we have -2/3 x plus y equals 2/3. All right, last step. We got to get rid of those fractions. What's the least common denominator of thirds and thirds? Well, yeah, that's going to be 3. And do you notice what we can do at the same time? Do you notice what we could actually do here to finish that very last step that was in our directions? We can multiply not just by 3, but by -3. That's going to give you positive 2x minus 3y equals negative 2. And that way you have your integers and you have your positive coefficient for x. Awesome. Okay, we're going to do one real-world application, so we're going to both write an equation and graph it. A media download store sells songs for $1 each and movies for $12 each. You have $60 to spend. Write and graph an equation that describes the items you can purchase. What are 3 combinations of numbers of songs and movies you can purchase? Okay, so I took a template that is in the textbook for this. So I have the way they want us to relate the quantities in the problem. So we're going to start by saying the cost of a song times the number of songs plus the cost of a movie times the number of movies is equal to our $60. And now we can think about, well, what is each of those things? So, excuse me. Okay, so the cost of a song is $1. So I'm going to go ahead and write the 1 for the purposes of writing the equation times the number of songs. And we have here that we're going to let x equal the number of songs purchased. So 1 times x plus. And next we have the cost of a movie, which is 12, times the number of movies. And we have up here that we're going to let y represent the number of movies, and that total equals $60. So $1 times the number of songs plus $12 times the number of movies equals $60. So we're going to go to the next screen and we're going to graph this. Okay, here's our coordinate plane. So on the x-axis we're going to be counting by tens, and that's going to be number of songs. And on the y-axis we're going to be counting by ones, and that's going to be number of movies. Okay, and our equation is x plus 12y equals 60. And let's solve that for y and use our slope-intercept form to graph. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video and do that for me, please. And I'll do the same thing. Okay, so there we have it. Ooh, nice and messy. Y equals negative 1/12 x plus 5. So 5 is our y-intercept there. Looks like I may have moved the slide a bit. Hold on. Now we're good. So y-intercept of 5. All right, so negative 1/12. Well, that's actually going to be kind of hard to do with the graph that I have going here. So what's the first multiple of 12 that's a multiple of 10? Well, that would be 5 times 12, which is 60, and that just so happens to be the x-intercept. Now remember, think about this up here. If I plug in 0 for y, I'm going to get an x-intercept of 60 right there. Okay, so I want to find some ordered pairs in between. So down 1, right 12. So down 1 would be 4 movies, right 12 would be 12 songs. So that would be about, say about right there. All right, down 1 over 12. So that would be down 1 would be 3 movies, and we'd be going up to 24 songs, not quite halfway from 20 to 30. Down 1 would be 2 movies, and now we're going to have 36 songs. So right about there. And then down 1 more would be 1 movie, and let's see, 36, so 48 songs. So 48 would be like right there. We have this nice little line, and we have actually 6 answers to choose from instead of 3 answers to choose from. So it could be 0 songs and 5 movies, 12 songs and 4 movies, 24 songs and 3 movies, 36 songs and 2 movies, 48 songs and 1 movie, or 60 songs. And there you have it. So that's our consumer application or real-world application for today. One last thing for you. To enjoy. I actually recorded this entire slide and messed up majorly, and was really glad to have actually had time to watch the video and check, but several times while I was messing up, and unbeknownst to me, the cat jumped on the iPad, so you lost out that part. So I decided to add one more slide to the video for you that is not in the PowerPoint. I apologize. It's Princess Peach. Hello, Peach. Some very cute activities she decided to pursue while I was working on my computer tonight. All right, guys, see you in class. Two very